Labour Party is famous for not only ending people's individuals' political career, but also finishing parties. We finish the PLM. We finish the UNDP. We finish someone named UPM. This time we got done UPP and DNA. So by the time we get to 2023 or whatever, if anybody wants to oppose the Labour Party, it must be somebody new. I heard John Messiah. Somebody called me one morning and said, please turn on to Observer. I mean, I listen to them, you know. I listen to them. And John Messiah was saying that medical benefit is bankrupt and people will not be able to get their medication. Let me tell you, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Somebody tell me that John Messiah's father was a preacher. Well, let me tell you, I am glad that the theology I believe and teach and preach is that when you're dead, your thoughts perish. Because I was sorry for that poor man if it was different. He would be rolling and turning in the grave to see that he left one daughter who could lie like that. I'm telling you all, comrades, it's serious. I have every confidence that the Labour Party is going to win this election. But I don't want us to just win it. I want us to dun them. I want to say with real meaning, UPP, finish. Tonight, I'm going to call our first speaker. You know, the Labour Party love young people. And so I'm going to call on someone from the Central Youth for Labour. We're going to call on Comrade Asiba Charles to address you. Comrade, come and talk to the people.
Comrades, city's people, young people the city is. Well, I'm a friend, and I come with a message for him tonight. So, if for one thing, you see, when we have a problem and we can't face it, it's bad. And I love that. Lover continue for living in denial. Mr. Lover, you're my friend, but you disappoint me. It disappoint me. And here ya, I bet you're going to ask the PM for a job and say you apologize because your career done. It's over. Hear this. I done your last election, I'm going to cripple you this time around. I find your quote scriptures out of the Bible. But the Bible clearly says, Romans 3:7, that we should give honor to whom honor is due. But hey, you're not ready yet. Say what you want about the Honorable Medford Nicholas, but you can't walk in his shoes. May I tell you? Yes, I didn't come from. All my Jamaican massive. Labor we say. Mr. Lover. Mr. Lover. beside the refurbished basketball court. What have you done for the people of City East? Mr. Lovell, beside taking Antigua and Barbuda to the IMF, what have you done for this nation? Mr. Lovell, beside mashing up tourism, what have you done for this nation? Mr. Lovell, the man that you call Tricolos, he has shown what he have done for the people of City East. Yes, you might say that he been missing in action, but hey, after what you left here 10 years ago, he had to clean that up. So, Mr. Lovell, I ask you, what do you bring to the table? Your pia football team, my under 10 team, tell them stand aside. You understand? First thing first, you have to tell me how to shuffle the cabinet. Because then and therefore I don't know. I can't see it. I cannot see it. Oh, sorry. I have to gather my thoughts, people. Mr. Lovell, you need to own up to your mistakes. You need to own up to your mistakes. When you live in a glass house, you can't throw stones. You have to clean up your backyard before you try to clean up someone else. Last night, I listened to you. I listened to everything that you said last night. And I was waiting for you to destroy, pull down, tear off, fix my minister. But I heard nothing other than he trickle us. I heard nothing, Mr. Lover. Me your friend. Me you a friend, but me not after tonight. You disown me and no friendship again. Nothing wrong with that. Young people of City East, don't be fooled. I beg and I plead with you people. Don't be fooled. First thing first, those who have kids, think about their future. Because them are the leader for tomorrow. Young people of City East, don't be condemned-minded by this man that them call Harold Lovell. He does not have the people of City East, nor Antigua and Barbuda at heart. So, come March 21st, 2018, it's Melford Nicholas and the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party all the way, 17 none. We are going to done them. We go done them. My son said today, Mommy, UPP flop, Tweeby. Them flop, them flop, them flop. Lovell, you talk about lies. Oh my God, are you that? Are you that? Are you create lie? Before the 2004 elections, you know, remember you say our tax are abolished. Next thing you stop out with ABST. Then you talk about gas prices. You say Antigua have the highest. And you take out from $21 to $32. Remember that. Remember that. He never got it, he thought. For me, you want to come. So, yeah, remember, I seen this as an EB. And I'm nothing. Me not one of them. I two picnic me have one of them. So me can't survive. So, Mr. Lover. Them flop. Mr. Lover, as I leave this platform tonight, the people of St. John City East, are you hear me? Are you hear me? The trickolous man, you're not going to see that name the end of the boot. But the people of City East, I may tell you, for the continued development. And to talk about my football team. Hey, Mahabayu. Mahabayu back 100%. You see when you hear, done with them in the premiere, then go grudge the photo of my football team. Remember me tell you that. He come and say, plans for this there for 10 years and it'll start. It'll start. But here you are, the Honorable, my minister, Mr. Melford Nicholas, he did that. And he's going to continue doing. So come March 21st, it's the Honorable Melford Nicholas, all the way, and Team Labour. Good night.
Thank you very much, comrade. You know, tonight, my way here, I happen to walk on a road behind there. And when I come, if we ease up, I say, wait, a while, an airport run with this. Yeah, yes. I was wondering if I was on I-95. Comrade Nicholas, good work, good work. Some man named Chin tell me to give a message tonight. He want the 100,000 US dollars. There are some bankrupt people in this country who want to enter politics. You owe somebody, you say a personal loan. You owe somebody $100,000. You can't pay and you want to go into politics. Why you look your back, son? People of rural north, you all better max it up. Max it up. And send some Mac you may on his way. Let him go back up there and fight with Chin Wong Su or whatever his name. We don't want them here. Them a bunch of scoundrels. They're broke. They're bankrupt. And they want to come bankrupt the country too. Never again. We're going to rural north. And we're going to max it up. Let's give a warm welcome for Comrade Max Fernandez.
Max it up. Comrades and friends, good night. It really is a fantastic sight. Even though it's raining, we're all here together. Comrades and friends, good night. Rural North, good night. You, my dear comrades and friends, deserve this nation's gratitude. Because in 2014, you saved this country from the wicked UPP. This, at that point in time, in 2014, when you saved this country was in total meltdown. The economy was in free fall. Education failing dismally. Healthcare had collapsed. And crime, as you can recall, was rampant. That was the state of the country after the 10 dark years of the UPP. Today, under our leader, the Honorable Gaston Brown, and your ABLP team, the economy has rebounded. The IMF loan from the wicked UPP government is almost completely paid off. And let me give you this pledge tonight. Under the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party, you will never, ever have to worry about the wicked IMF. We marched against it, and we have to end up paying off it. $300 million they borrowed. And we have to repay it. They borrow it and they spend it and nothing to show for it. And we have to pay it back. Personal income tax, that has been removed by this ABLP government to put more money in the pockets of you, the people. The port that they left virtually bankrupt, and our chairman, chair lady is here somewhere tonight. Let me hear it for Senator Mary Claire Hurst and the good people at the port. The port is now profitable again under your ABLP government, to the extent that in a few short weeks, the new port expansion will commence at an investment of over $90 million US. And the port is going to be transformed to the best cargo port in the region. West Indies Oil Company is expanding and turning profits for who? Not the owners overseas. They're turning profits for you, the people. Because under the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party government and our honorable leader, Gaston Brown, the West Indies Oil Company is now owned by you, the people, in large portion. And remember the lands that West Indies Oil owned. You, the people, own all of those lands now. They're in your hands. And so on election day, when you go to the polls, you have to remember who saved the economy of this country and vote ABLP. So let me hear it again for Gaston Brown and Team Labour. Under your ABLP government, Mount St. John's has the most modern diagnostic healthcare equipment. And the long wait for surgeries that occurred under the UPP are now a thing of the past. Your ABLP government has made the best in healthcare available for you, the people, for your children, for your family. And so on election day, remember who saved healthcare and vote ABLP. You remember on the UPP before 2014 how people had to shut the door as soon as the sun went down because crime was so bad in this country? Crime is now drastically reduced. And we did it with our own local police. We didn't need to bring in any foreign entity. Presently, Antigua and Barbuda has the lowest crime statistics in the region. Of course, as you would know, crime is intrinsically linked to unemployment. And unemployment was so high under the UPP. What could you expect? But under the ABLP, crime is going down, employment is going up. And so, on election day, you must remember whose watch it is that crime went down under. And vote ABLP. What about education? Under Minister Michael Brown, over 200,000 square feet in classroom space has been added, including a new secondary school and the University of the West Indies campus at 5 Islands. That will soon be opened. So our children don't have to travel overseas to go to university. Tertiary education is now coming to Antigua through the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government. And so on election day, you must remember who invested all of this in education for our children's future and vote ABLP. Today we have more hotels under construction than any time during our country's history. These hotels include the Best Western, the Waldorf Astoria Callaloo Key, the Royal Antiguan Hotel, Hodges Bay Club, and the Yida Mega Project has started too. And that is the one that's biting them. And you know, this year, there's several others to start, which will include the Marriott, and the Rosewood Resorts at Half Moon Bay. The Half Moon Bay that they took away from Miss Corrad and said they're going to build a hotel, and nothing happened. We promised jobs and investment, and this government has delivered, man. Let me hear it for the ABLP. In 2016, we saw the highest number of air arrivals, passengers from overseas. And in 2017, the largest amount of visitors to our shores, over 1 million visitors. And we're not going to stop there. This year, we're going to beat that. We're going to go way above 1 million. More jobs, more investment for you, the people. You know, I hear the UPP talking all over the place that they're going to bring hope. How can you get a hopeless team to bring hope? Their team needs hope. Now, you know, I want to spend, before I go, some time to tell you about a U.S. citizen that is running in this election. Macomé Emmanuel. He was the chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority. And I want you to listen to this. He was also Antigua and Barbuda's honorary consul general in the U.S., big post. Now, Macomé borrowed 100,000 US from a friend, note it, a friend, that he said, and hasn't paid back a cent till the friend go up to him, go to him, until in the end the friend carry him to court and sue him to get back his money. Now, I heard him saying that he's telling his lawyers to negotiate with the friend and to settle the thing. But I checked with the gentleman. He said, no friend, no lawyer contact him. Another lie again. And you know what they say about liars? Incidentally, on this same court matter, his next appearance is when? The 22nd of March, the day after election. But you know, there was another gentleman who met me just after the 2014 elections and told me that this Antiguan called Macomé had crooked him. So a few months ago, when he heard the man that Macomé was going to be running for office in Antigua, the gentleman, Mr. Peter Shaw, contacted me and said, I had to tell the voters of Antigua and Barbuda how crooked Macomé was. I said to him, I said, look, if you want me to expose Mac's crooked deal, he would have to, that man, Mr. Peter Chow, would have to swear to an affidavit on the oath that everything he said to me was true. Mr. Peter Chow went on Notary Public, Arose Maciello of the state of New York, and on the 12th of February 2018, he swore an affidavit. And I want to read to you some of what came out in the affidavit, because you hear them saying is fabrication. This is it with his signature. And number 8 says, and I quote, Mr. Mac Emmanuel practiced the activity of selling official envoy titles. You hear that? Selling official envoy titles and or positions. For example, I was personally offered the position of special envoy to China in exchange of the sum of 100,000 US dollars. This is a sworn statement. In exchange for the compensation, Mr. Emmanuel led me to believe that I would be the exclusive agent representing China to the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority. And he goes on, point 9. Believing that I was appointed as a special envoy, I paid Dr. Mac Emmanuel in excess of 35,000 US dollars as a deposit. In exchange, I received a simple letter of appointment that lacked value, and therefore I demanded a refund, and I have yet to receive any money from Macomé Emmanuel. It goes on in number 10, point 10. Dr. Mac Emanuel advised me that he represented vast interests of the Antigua government overseas and therefore is protected by diplomatic immunity. You see how them fellas operate? He advised me that I could not seek a refund because he was well insulated and protected because of his relationship with the then Prime Minister, Baldwin Spencer. You see that? And you remember Baldwin Spencer on another matter where he got money in the last election. He goes on, number 11. Dr. Mac Emanuel has used his position for personal gain and has abused any office he may hold in Antigua based on his actions, inactions, and intentional misrepresentations he made on behalf of himself and the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority, and is signed by Mr. Peter Chow. You can get a copy. You know, Mr. Chow gave a copy of the funds to me going to Mac's account in New York. So it's there, a copy of the transfer. An acknowledgement of the receipt of the said funds. Mac responded, it's all there, saying thank you. He get the money on his account. All of this documentation is now provided as evidence. The fraudulent letter of appointment was written by guess who? None other than Harold Lovell. Now, Harold Lovell was not the Minister of Foreign Affairs to appoint any envoy. And here is a copy of the letter written by Lovell. Here it is. I'm going to let Comrade Nicholas read the letter when he comes up. So, what you need to understand is what is going on. And this is why on election day, you have to make sure you don't bring them back to Don Antigua. Instead of that, we have to dun them. Now, you know, Mac needs to be reminded that as a U.S. citizen, if he fails to report income over 14,000 US, he will be charged with tax evasion. So what's the future of Crooked Mac after the elections? What is the future for Crooked Macomé after the elections? Back to the USA, facing a multiple of charges. Now, you know, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I used my office to be an honest patriot for my government and you, the people. I negotiated the grants, for example, for Villa School, 1.5 million US from the Dubai Fund. And the soon-to-be started 1.1 million US for the Cedar Grove Primary School. Now, I can tell you this. Before they release any funds, they have to do checks on you. When they do the checks on Macomé, you think Cedar Grove School gonna get the money? Scholarships. I negotiated a number of scholarships again from friendly governments and meetings. I negotiated for cars and buses for our people. What did Macomé spend his time in the UPP government striving to do? Macomé was striving to be a dishonest pirate. So on the 21st of March, comrades and friends, your choice is simple. You're going to vote for Macomé the pirate or Fernandez the patriot. Imagine under the UPP, school buses sent for our little children, your little children, were taken and used as personal property by the same people who now want to come back to you and tell you, give me another chance to get some more buses. Imagine that, the audacity of them. Now, I don't know about you, but I say stealing from little children is the worst kind of sin. You agree with me? So when they come to you and they tell you vote for them, ask them why they take away the bus from the little children and them. Eh? You say you brag you bring in school meals and then turn around and thief school bus. Comrades and friends, this hopeless team of fraudsters and misfits can't bring any hope to you. You can't get hope from a hopeless team. And that is why on election day, you must vote Labour. And when I say vote Labour, you're not voting Labour just for you. You rescued this country in 2014. You, the people, rescued this country. Are you now going to turn it back over to them? To wreck it? I can't hear you, man. You're going to turn it over to them? And so before I go, I have a question for you. On March 21st, how are we voting? I can't hear you, you know. On March 21st, how are you voting? When the little children ask you, Mommy, how are you voting? What are you going to say? Comrades and friends, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for staying in the rain to listen to us. And take the message of Labour to all corners of this island. Don't give up, because Labour all the way on election day. Thank you. Good night.
That's rural North coming in on the night of the 21st. I mean, he beat somebody the last time, and I haven't heard that name since. I was just asking somebody there what happened to John McGinley. Comrades, we're moving to St. Paul's. Yes. Yes. At a meeting recently, I heard him say that when he leave Liberta and going down Horsford Hill, he don't win. That's how we're going to do it. When we leave each polling station, the first polling station they come, we're supposed to don't win. Comrades, join me in welcoming to the podium our current representative for St. Paul, and will continue to be Comrade E.P. Chet Green.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Good night to all the comrades here in City East. A very special good night to my colleague, Honorable Melford Nicholas, who I joined tonight on this platform by way of an endorsement and total support. I also journeyed from St. Paul tonight to perform a very special act, a retirement act. I'm here tonight to retire once and for all in the interest of the Republic of Antigua and Barbuda, a fellow named Harold Lovell. Anybody that destroys a country's economy is to be retired. I want to repeat that. Anybody who destroys a country's economy is to be retired. And Harold Lovell has the record of having 3 consecutive years of negative growth in our economy. I heard him last night say bringing hope. So I called Nambalumbu. I called John McGinley. I called Winston Williams. I called John Messiah. I called Errol Court. I called Baldwin Spencer. And they all had one word to describe Harold Lovell: hopeless. I heard him last night trying to enunciate a policy. And that too would mean hopelessness not only for himself, but for all of us in Antigua and Barbuda. If Harold Lovell were to get his way, we'll see the army back in town next day. Because Harold Lovell decides that he's going to play the biggest gimmick ever in Antigua's politics. Everybody get everything free, 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 free. All taxes gone. And he say, if you think that you can live too long, I'll wave the ABLP in your coffin. So he kill you, kill you, kill you, kill you, and then give you the ABLP off your coffin. Well, I want to say to Harold Lovell tonight, Weber Jr., before he passed, had a phrase: joke is joke, but damn joke is no joke. And this thing that Harold Lovell is trying here is no joke. Because we're talking about the lives of people, the future of a country, generations unborn, and the policies required to ensure that this country remains a stable country, a vibrant country, and a growing country. Nothing last night by Harold Lovell speaks to anything about vibrancy, growth, stability, or even the future of this very progressive nation of Antigua and Barbuda. And so tonight I told Comrade Nicholas, I'm not sure I can make it, you know. He said, Twin, you gotta come, have to come. And I said, you know what? Let me ask John McGinley. Let me ask Baldwin Spencer. Let me ask Winston Williams. Let me ask John Messiah, Errol Court, Bertrand, if you think I should come. And they all tell me, Chet, make sure you go rural east. And let City East, and let the people of City East know that we are all former members of UPP who have left because of, and only because of, Harold Lovell. Now when you find bedrock members of a party leaving, and they tell you that they're leaving because of an individual, it reminds me of the old adage that even rats know when to jump off sinking ship. Comrades and friends, March 21 is upon us. Decision day is around the corner. And we have to all remember our obligation to this country. We have to remember that not so long ago, just 3.5 short years ago, the UPP would have wrecked this country, destroyed this economy, and that the chief engineer of all of that was a fellow named Harold Lovell. I know that the people of City East are here tonight are in their homes listening from the comfort of their living rooms or bedrooms. And for those who have to do prepping for tomorrow from the kitchen, I'm here tonight to tell you that the only message of hope that Antigua and Barbuda has resides with the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. And we're not only talking about a future message of hope. We've been living that hope. We have been living from 2014 until now with progress, development, expansion of the economy, and that itself is real hope. Tested hope, tried hope, proven hope. And since we can talk about not only hope, we can talk about all of this in the context of performance, which is what every country in the world needs to have, a performing government. And that's why when we go to the polls on March 21, we have the opportunity of comparing a failed experiment called UPP and a high-performance government called the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. When we go to the polls, we have the opportunity to reflect on 3.5 years ago when pensioners could not be paid, public servants could not be paid. Mount St. John was a horror house where roads were built for some $2 billion. And 3.5 years after, the government of the day had to go to the whole spiel again of building roads throughout this country. We in this country are fortunate over the last 3.5 years to have a high performance and highly performing government. A government which has done more than reasonably well, but exceptionally well. Where our economy has grown more than any other country in this hemisphere. Where for 3 consecutive years, with this being the 4th year, the growth rate of this country is unparalleled within this Caribbean region. Antiguans and Barbudans, it is not the glib talk. It is the metal. It is the ability to test or to live the proof of what people say to you. And so when Harold Lovell comes last night, I hear Chai last night to go after me. Harold Lovell, I don't know what joy you have in going after me. Because when you try to go after me, I can speak to performance rate in government for 3.5 years. Both as a minister of government and a representative of St. Paul's. You have no such boast you can make because you singularly destroyed Antigua's economy when Baldwin Spencer gave the reins as Minister of Finance. When Comrade Fernandez stood there a while ago and spoke about the tourism industry and the growth, the 1 million mark we've reached, and that we're not stopping there, we don't settle with those numbers, we're climbing even higher. Harold Lovell, I remind you, was also Minister of Finance of Tourism when the numbers plummeted. Everything that Harold Lovell ever touched had been botched. I like a Rasta man friend tell me the child is born a big head together, not even that he can do. Harold Lovell is a failure. I declare tonight for the benefit of the listeners on the sound of my voice, all Antigua and Barbuda, that Harold Lovell is a complete and total failure. And if Harold wants to challenge me, say he's a failure, tell him come, you can get a second microphone now, and we can go to his track record. We can look at his performance in tourism. We can look at his performance in the economy as Minister of Finance. How can you tell me that after 3.5 years, when you collapse this country's economy, and the people found favor, the people found a solution with the Antigua Party, that you want to come back as some kind of savior? If you could not do it then, how are you going to do it now? You ran this constituency for 10 years. What are your areas of achievement in the constituency? I just come remember for Nicholas come to cabinet every week after week he comes, he asks about the bridge, some water flowing, and all kind of problems, and people complaining. The basketball court, this constituency, the steel band, one of the longest or oldest steel bands in Antigua Barbuda from this community. Harold Lovell did absolutely nothing. Yeah, some Spanish money from this and nada. Wow. This fella has no track record on which to run. How can Harold Lovell, what, you think this is some Mickey Mouse business? That Antigua and Barbuda can just be, what, wash your foot and come? And after Glastonbury taking the leadership of this country to another level, you think that we're some fools in this country to want to take it back to a low level? We are people conscious and aware of our potential. We are people who have over the last 3.5 years been witnessing real leadership, real governance. I asked Harold Lovelock, anybody for that matter, to point to a single case of corruption in this government for the last 3.5 years. What you have had for the last 3.5 years in Antigua and Barbuda is a government busy doing the people's business, developing every sector of the economy. When we decided to give duty free to ordinary poor people in this country, Harold Lovelock said, bad decision, you give it too much. Little did he know that by giving all the duty frees to all Antiguans and Barbudans, we were impacting a sector of the economy. So that you can have more jobs now in the motor industry. Transport board making more money because once you buy the car, you must license it. Insurance companies doing better because you must insure them. Gas stations making more money and they can hire more people because more gas selling. Tires are being sold. Mechanics are making more money. We have, through a very positive, a very simple approach, impacted a sector of the economy like never before. You can recall not so long ago that duty-free was an election gimmick. Governments in the past used duty-free as an election gimmick. Come get a duty-free, come get a duty-free. No longer is it so. A duty-free now is almost a right and entitlement of Antiguans and Barbudans as we grow that whole transport sector. You drive around Antigua, you're not only find guys washing cars in the corner, they have mobile units now. We've created a whole new sector through a very simple, people-friendly, people-driven initiative. Comrades and friends, you'd have heard us launch a manifesto last Friday. We have spoken to some of the very positive programs. You'd have watched us for the last 3.5 years grow the economy of this country to the benefit of the people. I say to you, stick with the Antigua and Barbuda Party. And in City East, for the last 3.5 years, you have had easily the best IT telecommunications minister this country has ever seen in Melford Nicholas. As a matter of fact, I'm being corrected. Melford's credentials not only place him as best in Antigua and Barbuda, but the best in the sub-region and certainly one of the top in the region. So that when Antigua and Barbuda steps out, you have sound representation. Not the thing you hear about people sending passport for money. And people have to go to court in New York on the 22nd, the day after the election. You have never heard any such thing about any minister in this government for the last 3.5 years. And I can say to you without fear of contradiction that what you will get in the next 5 years is more of that kind of sterling performance. That kind of representation that makes you proud to be an Antiguan and a Barbudan. I'm going to take my seat because we have a lineup of speakers tonight. But I must end as I began. I journeyed from St. Paul's tonight to be here with my twin brother in City East to do a couple of things. To endorse him and unequivocally recommend him to the electorate here in City East. And secondly, I'm here to perform a very important exercise, a retirement exercise. Because here tonight, we officially retire one Harold Lovell from politics, from public life in Antigua and Barbuda. He's a failure of monumental proportions. Someone who must never, ever be allowed back in the Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda based on his track record of failure. Let us make sure we have our voters' IDs. Make sure that your households are ready, that your streets are ready, your neighbors are ready, that everybody in your sphere, they are ready for election day 2018. And in City East, None over here. In City East, I implore you, encourage you, beseech you, that when you go to the polls and it's early out, we voted for Melford Nicholas, Melford Nicholas, Melford Nicholas to return to the Parliament to continue the work he's been doing for the last 3.5 years in representing you, this constituency, and Antigua and Barbuda at the regional and international levels. God bless you all. One love. Long live the Antigua and Barbuda Party.
I just saw 2 comrades there doing a thing. Remind me of a tag team wrestling team they used to call Axe and Smash Demolition. They come to demolish some people. They tell me when Harold Lovell was Minister of Tourism, he made a speech and he said, Antigua and Barbuda tourism is at the edge of a precipice of disaster. It is time for us to take a giant step forward. Now you realize what happened? If you're at the edge of a precipice of disaster and you take a step forward, what happened? And that's exactly where we went in tourism. In 2004, a certain lady made history in Antigua and became the first female to be elected to the House of Representatives. She came back in 2009 and won again and turned around and called my parents ragtag. In 2014, a gentleman did what some thought was the impossible. And he turned around what was the largest deficit in a constituency and beat the lady Jackie Quinley Andrew into retirement. And since that, Jackie Quinley Andrew claim to fame is this. She stood beside a gentleman. She stood beside a man on a political platform whose teeth drop out. That's her claim to fame. We're going to St. George. Comrades and friends, St. George, Passy, let me hear you. Let's join and welcome Comrade Dean Jonas.
Oh yes, we're doing this for the love. Oh yes. Doing it for the love. Good night, comrades. Good night, all. What a wonderful group of people we have here tonight. Wonderful group. You know, I listened to Harold Lovell's speech the other night. He gave a wonderful speech. Oh, yes. But there were a number of things that he did not mention. You see, a lot of us men, when we want something, we have a way of sweet talking. That's what the women like to say. You say your mouth sweet. You talk sweet. But I have to tell you all, Howard Lovell and his sweet talk is not going to work here or anywhere because of his track record. Young ladies, your mother will always tell you, you can always listen to the sweet talk. But you have to judge a man by his actions. What does he do? What he bring to the table? What does he bring to the table? And that is the question. Look at Howard Lovell's track record. Look at his performance in office. He had 10 years in here. The people of City East were fair to Howard Lovell. They gave him 10 years. 10 wonderful years. What did Howard Lovell do in the 10 years? He talked about some of my comrades, accusing them of corrupt actions. Wait, get in there. He talked about the performance of the Labour Party. 3 years, we have turned this economy around, but as far as Howard Lovell is concerned, them now do nothing. They've done nothing. But let me remind you all about Howard Lovell's performance in office. What a wonderful speech. Y'all remember romantic rhythms? Huh? Y'all remember that $20 million that he spent on romantic rhythms? What was the benefit to Antigua and Barbuda? What was the benefit to the people in City West? City East, sorry. What a total waste. Spending the people's money on concerts, bringing artists from all over the world to absolutely no benefit to the economy, the country, and the people in City West. Y'all want to put him back there? Huh? Seriously? But let me tell you all another thing. Howard Lovell was a part of the team that brought the IMF to Antigua and Barbuda. Don't forget that, I'm pointing out to you, let us not lose track here. I am pointing out to you the difference between the sweet talk and the actions of the man. You have to learn to walk good, when you have decisions to make. The 21st of March is decision day. And you have an important decision to make. Now, they will argue the IMF is just a bank. They go to borrow money from the IMF. Take care of your business. But let me warn you all, the reason why this Labour Party trying to shake itself from the IMF, there's good reason why we're trying to get rid of them, Remember that debt has been reduced from nearly 300 million to about 10 million now. Within the next few months, we're going to get rid of them. Why is it that we're so anxious to shake them off, get them out of here? Huh? They say the Prime Minister should not cost them. As far as me concerned, it cost them enough. Borrowing money from the IMF compared to another bank like the CDB or World Bank is very different. That is the difference between borrowing money from a loan shark or a bank like ACB. Y'all listen to me carefully, When you hear you borrow money from a loan shark, they want a pound of flesh with it. That's what loan sharks do. When they give you their money, the conditions are put in place to kill you. Not to build you up. Not to help you. And history is replete with the many countries across the world that have been destroyed by the IMF. They are loan sharks. That's what they are. And we don't need them here. That's what Howard Lovell has done. What a wonderful speech. Sweet talk. But his actions are like that of a venomous snake. Don't trust him. So you have romantic rhythms. You have romantic rhythms, and now you have the IMF. It's kill it won't kill you, you know. But Higher Level didn't stop there. He didn't stop there. My colleague here said tonight that in 2009, I lost the election to the ragtag queen, Nantalgoso, then Tifam. They are a bunch of election thieves. Let me tell you now, they didn't stop there. And that's why I'm telling y'all, when you hear this kind of sweet talk, watch the actions. You have to. You have to. I'm sorry, you know. I can sweet talk to you know. I'm good at that. But I came here tonight to wake you up, to make you understand what you're getting yourself involved in. If you ever lie down in your bed at night and dream about giving Higher Level an X on the 21st of March. When John Messiah decided to challenge for leadership in the UPP, remember in 2009, the thief election, you know, we carried him to court. Y'all know the first court ruled in our favor. We won because she ruled under law. The second court, the appeals court, decided to hire some mathematician to do some statistical analysis. What utter nonsense. And tell them, well, they were going to win anyway, so leave them. If elections were going to be determined by statistical analysis, why have elections? Why call out the people to vote? That is all we were asking for. Do it over. But I will leave that alone. I'm not going to criticize the courts. Point I'm making. Within the UPP, John Messiah, a woman, decided to raise her head. I believe, John said, that I can be a better leader. And I believe she could have. I believe that we would have been in a lot of trouble if John had won. But the UPP not interested in winning. They are a bunch of election thieves. Y'all don't forget that, you know. What did they do to John Messiah? The voters list of delegates who were supposed to vote in the election, they refused to give her. Can you imagine that? Refused to give it to her. What do you think the intention was? He's sweet talking, man. He's stepping light. What a wonderful man I am, Higher Level. But underneath, that man was nothing but a snake. In the UPP, all the persons who side with John Messiah, and they were good people, you know. Some of the front runners in terms of the ability to fight and engage. Because I believe, you know, in a strong democracy. A strong democracy benefits a country. It causes our leaders to dig deep and come up with real solutions to the problems. Not that we're not doing it in Labour Party, you know, we are. Trust me on that. But Higher Level and his gang of election thieves within the UPP stole that primary election from John Messiah. She refused to take part in it. Y'all want to put him back here? Here? Huh? Don't lose your head, my people. So he gone from romantic rhythms, IMF, and now thief the primary after they done thief the election. What a wonderful speech. I'm telling you all. What a wonderful speech. Don't listen to him. Watch his actions, my people. Watch his actions. Am I talking too long? Why is it? Why is it that all them UPP candidates run onto the party after Higher Level win the seat? After Higher Level win the election? He don't have no candidate, you know. This is the first time in my political life where I am out in the constituency campaigning and people asking me, who you're running against? You think I'm joking? Ask the people in them that campaign with me if you think it's a joke. Look, I campaigned against Jackie. And then nobody ever asked me who you're running against. What a disgrace. No, people are asking me who are you running against. Huh? What am I supposed to tell them? What do you think I should answer? Huh? Huh? I'm telling you all. I don't even know what kind of election we're conducting in St. George right now. Huh? Taking candy from a baby. That's what we're doing. A baby candidate. That is Harold Lovell's decision-making capability. Y'all want to keep him in here? Come on, people. No way. So I'm asking the people of City West. Oh, Lord. I want to go down cities and fight down there now. I want to give a speech down there because I have some things to say. Trust me, my guns are cocked. I can't wait. I hope I get a chance. City East people. City East people. I'm asking you humbly. Consider the choices that you have. Someone whose performance has been weak and downright awful for this country. Someone who is deceptive and has no solutions to the problem facing this country. Or you can have somebody who is building you up, willing to work with you in this community and give you a quality of life that you are deserving of in this community. Please, when you go back, give Melford that X. Thank you very much, my people. Thank you.
It's true. I was going to tell Comrade Chet, if he is still the minister in charge of Carnival, we have a new band. And their name is Mouth Enforcement Brass. Comrades! Wake up! Yes! You know, every time I introduce this gentleman, I am humbled. I am bringing tonight, some people call him the world boss. I simply call him the best prime minister in the region. Comrades, join me in welcoming the Honorable Gaston Brown.
I am blessed every day of my life. I am blessed when I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest. Every day of my life, I am blessed. Let me say, sit. Them flop. 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 Them not ready yet. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, my dear comrades. Thank you very much. Tonight, I am here primarily to endorse my dear colleague and friend, Comrade Melford Nicholas. And to say to the people of St. John City East that you have an excellent representative in Comrade Melford Nicholas. A man who brought to the table significant corporate experience, having served as a senior manager at Cable and Wireless. A man who has served as a minister responsible for IT and easily is one of the best IT telecommunications minister anywhere in the Caribbean and beyond. Let's hear it for Comrade Melford Nicholas. And I'm quite sure that the people of St. John City East could confirm that more people are working today than prior to June of 2014. And you know, the interesting thing is that they had the finance minister and de facto prime minister, Harry Lovell, representing them. But he was more concerned about himself and his wealthy friends. So, for example, while the people of St. John City East were literally starving, could not afford to eat, could not pay for the electricity, he was putting tens of millions of dollars into the pockets of his cronies. And I'll give a typical example. There's a particular gentleman by the name of Dr. Lake. He doesn't like when I call his name. It's not that I want to berate Dr. Lake, but I want to tell you what Harry Lovell did. Between Harry Lovell and the other members in the UPP, they hired 2 excavators for Dr. Lake, put them in the government quarries, and he ended up making over $30 million. You want to hear a scandal? So hear this now. They then did a bogus swap and took 15 acres of our prime real estate at Fort James and gave it to Dr. Lake for $3.5 million EC dollars. You want to hear corruption? They want to hear corruption? Tell them talk about corruption. So when you hear the talk about COVID as an example, COVID bought their land for over $5 per square foot. And the land here is being sold at the developmental price of $3 per square foot. Tell Harry Lovell that Gaston Brown say, go and account to the people in Antigua and Barbuda for their prime real estate, beach land. I'm talking about the land between Millers and Asset Michael that you give away for pittance. So Dr. Lake spent $3.5 million EC dollars on the land. And a year later, when we went to him and we told him we wanted to buy it for development, you know how much he asked for it? $54 million. Tell Harry Lovell that Gaston Brown said to account for that. And you know, while the people of St. John City East were suffering, he assumed a loan for Dr. Lake. And when I say Dr. Lake, I'm referring to his companies. One of them named Jack Idle. Never paid $1 in taxes. He assumed a loan for him at ABI Bank for $13 million. Harry Lovell. You can imagine that? $13 million. Then gave him $4 million in cash. And you know the thing about it? You know how much an excavator costs? $300,000. So a man that had $600,000 equipment ended up making over $30 million. That is why the UPP couldn't see their way. Because they used corruption in the government to literally enrich their friends and themselves. And Dr. Lake is one of the party funders. You're right. Organized extortion. You hear this? Coming out of the crowd. Organized extortion of public resources under the UPP government. We brought that to an end. All of the individuals in this country who used to go to the Ministry of Finance and get their taxes written off and go with a brown paper bag with the $20,000, when they came to my government, when we won the government in June of 2014, I jive them out of the office. I said, this is Harry Lovell. One of them so barefaced, he decided he had the $20,000 and brought a duty-free thing for me to sign. to sign off $70,000 worth of government taxes. I tell you, come out my office, man, I have more money than you. So, the point I want to make here, when they talk about corruption, tell them me say, tell them Gaston Brown say, to pick the plank out of their eyes before they look at the beam of others. Because there's no government in modern history that has been even half as corrupt as the UPP administration of 2004 to 2014. And when they talk about Odebrecht, I can stand in any forum and say to the people, me no know nobody from Odebrecht. Me never not dealing with Odebrecht. Odebrecht never gave me no money, indirectly or directly. I never solicited a cent from Odebrecht. 2 Antiguans that I know that got money from Odebrecht. A former ambassador named Kazroy James and a man named Harold Lovell. So, if indeed that Odebrecht had set up a bribe for the Prime Minister, it would have been organized by Kazroy James and Harold Lovell. Tell him Gaston Brown says so. And you can imagine, what if Harold Lovell was the Prime Minister? He was collecting $4,000 a month from the Minor Bank Odebrecht crooks. And you must understand too, you know, that the Odebrecht scandal took place on the UPP, not under my government. It became obvious, the story broke under my government in 2014. But all of the corruption took place between 2009 and 2014 on the UPP. So Harold Lovell and his colleagues, they're the ones who are supposed to account for that. They are the ones who sullied the image of this country, not Gaston Brown. And that is why when BBC called my name, I got my lawyers and write them and tell them, take down that, otherwise I will sue you. And I had to take it down. That is when El País called my name. I said to them, I don't know these people. Remove my name, otherwise I'll sue you. And they had to do it. When it comes to good governance, this man, Gaston Brown, I don't play. When it comes to defending the assets of this country, to be good stewards of the assets of this country, if it's one man that takes that responsibility seriously, is the Prime Minister. In fact, I tell you this much, there could have been several scandals under my government, but when they come to my desk, they can't pass me. In fact, I tell you this much, it is to my credit why Odebrecht could not get through. Because whereas they were hatching this plan to effect a bribe, by the time they tried to hatch a plan, the information was sent 6 months before. But guess what? Harold Lovell was not in government, so he did not know. So while he was taking the money every month, $4,000 a month, US, in order to hatch the bribe, they had no knowledge that the information was already sent. And by the way, you know, I'm not even a competent authority. It would have been the ONDCP. But when the matter was brought to my attention several years ago by Annette Mark, who was a former chief immigration officer, I am the one who picked up the phone and told the AG, make sure that you provide the government of Brazil with the information immediately. And today, the government of Brazil has nothing but commendation for my government. So when they're trying to stick corruption in my government, tell them to try that. Me the name Lester Bird. They're not going to tarnish my name and don't hear from me. I will stand up in any forum, and defend my credibility, my integrity. Now, last night, I heard Harold Lovell making some outlandish promises. And I came to the conclusion that he must have smoked some bad weed. Because I can't understand how a man that served as finance minister before, if he was a total novice, I could understand. But he was in the seat of finance minister before. And he decided last night that he's going to give away $200 million of government revenues. And money you look for thief? You know? So, here are these outlandish promises. He says that he's going to reduce vehicle licenses by 50%. You know what that means? It means that the $30 million that the Transport Board collects annually, that will be reduced to $15 million. It means that the Transport Board will be bankrupted and they'll have to send home half the staff. He didn't stop there, you know. He then said that he's going to reduce the electricity, the fuel variation charge by 25%. And let me tell you, you know me, I wrote to all the public servants today, and I said to them, if they can be done, I want to do them right away. And all of them wrote back, and they said it can't happen. Not Gaston Brown saying this, all of the public servants, the head of the Transport Board, the head of APUA, the head of West Indies Oil Company, the financial secretary, all of the public servants have written formally and said that it cannot be done. But you see, Harold Lovell is a desperate man. He knows that his days are numbered. He knows that he does not have very long to go in politics. I guarantee you that after March 21st of 2018, the name Harold Lovell will be removed from the political landscape of this country. But let us examine some more of these outlandish claims. He says that he's going to reduce fuel at the pump by $2 per gallon. That would mean a loss of $47 million. Tell us where the money going to come from. In fact, somebody said to me, I'm vexed because we're coming out of the grass for the IMF. You want to put us back into an IMF program. Wicked man. So that's another $47 million deal. Then he says he's going to reduce corporation taxes by 50%. It's 25% right now. He says he's going to reduce it to 12.5%. You know how much money that be? Another $35 to $40 million. I told you all, he smoked some bad weed last night. Because I can't understand how a man who served as Minister of Finance less than 4 years ago could make those outlandish claims, those promises. But then again, we all know that he has a counting problem. So clearly, he did not do any research, and he just felt that maybe he could throw these claims out there, not knowing that my government will get the public servants to do the research and to educate you, the people. And I think, too, that is a form of insult to the intelligence of the people of this country. So he believes that he can just pull a lot of numbers out of the hat, throw them out there, tell you that you're going to reduce this, you're going to reduce that. It must have been about 12 items, 12 different items that Harold Lovell says that he will reduce. But you know the good news about it? He will never, ever live to put his foot back in government again. Because this time around, in 2018, we are going for all 17. And you would recall that the last elections, when the count came in, City East was the first of all. And I will say in 2018 that City East will be the first seat to come in. Let's hear it for Comrade Melford Nicholas, man. He has done the work, and he deserves a second term. I know that there's several projects that are taking place that are in the pipe, and he would have wanted some more time. So, for example, that major drain coming through the community, the money is there, it's already programmed, and with a few more months, I'm quite sure it would have been completed. But I said to him, no worry, man, we have them. And you would recognize that we caught them off guard. Up to now, they don't know what to do. So whereas they're boasting all along that they're in a state of readiness, you can see now that they have actually resorted to desperation, promising a whole heap of outlandish things that they cannot achieve. Now, he also says, too, that he's going to make a number of different areas throughout the island duty-free. We collect $100 million in duties. So when he make all them areas duty-free, we're going to have the revenue again. Then he says that he's going to reduce food prices by widening the food basket. So it seems as though he's going to make everything that consumers use price controlled. So that has implications now, not only for consumers, but also for those who are involved in business. And just to reduce the price of goods in this country by maybe 10%, it may run the government about $20 million. So again, where is the money coming from? Yet another outlandish claim. But I say to you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, especially the people of St. John City East, don't be fooled. These are what you call a mirage of promises. It is like the dog with the bone, and he sees the reflection, and he leaves the real bone and go for the reflection and end up with nothing. Don't allow Harold Lovell to trick you. Harold Lovell and the others in the UPP, they are criminal elements. When a man can take a school bus that was donated to the government by the government of Korea to the government of Antigua and Barbuda for the use of our school children, and a man named Harold Lovell could convert the ownership from the government into his name, I say that that is a criminal act. I say to you that for any so-called leader of any serious political party to say to you that they're going to reduce taxes by $200 million, that is a criminal act. I say to you that it takes a criminal mind to come up with that type of scheme to fool the people. Tonight, I appeal to you once again to continue to support the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. What you see is what you get. We do not deceive. We will not make any promises that we cannot honor. You'd recall that prior to the 2004 general elections, the UPP said to you that they would eliminate the fuel variation charge. You know what happened? It went up. They said to you they would not have reintroduced personal income tax. They did so. So the question is, can you trust these people? And you know what I can't understand? Harold Lovell, in particular, has been the worst performing Minister of Finance in the history of the world. We're not talking about the history of Antigua and Barbuda, you know, or the history of the Caribbean. In the history of the world. I challenge any one of you to do the research and tell me if you could find a finance minister who preside over the reduction of the economy year after year for 3 consecutive years, resulting in a reduction of 25% in the size of the economy. It has never, ever happened in any other country. That one is for the Guinness Book of Records. So even if Harold Lovell's promises were doable, the reality is he does not have the competence to implement them. So anyhow you look at it, you're looking at a total failure in Harold Lovell. And I cannot see anyone could take Harold Lovell seriously. He had one of the smallest constituencies in this country, and he could make a difference in their lives. How do you expect now for him to take on nearly 100,000 people and make a difference in their lives? He made a difference in his life. And what is happening now between Harold Lovell and Wilma Daniel and the others, they missed the gravy train. They want to get back in the government to steal. That is their modus operandi. They're not going into government to serve you. We are here to serve you. We are making sacrifices to serve you because we love you, the people. We will do everything in our power to empower you, and we have been empowering you. And the reality is, the best is yet to come. Because we have this year, program for this year, $1.5 billion, not million, you know, $1 billion in investments. So for example, you would see the construction of a new modern port at $250 million. You will see the construction of yet another berth, a fifth berth at a cost of 81 million EC dollars. You will see the development of Fort James. We'll spend about $80 million to develop Fort James into an entertainment and leisure facility for locals and visitors alike. You know about all of the private sector projects that are taking place. You know about Sunwing with the old Royal Antiguan. That property will be open later this year, and we will have 50,000 tourists coming into this country from 2019. That project alone will generate 800 new jobs. So those of you who are unemployed, I say to you, by the end of this year, we're putting everybody back to work. Back to work with Labour, man. Let's hear it for Labour. And let us not forget that when we came to office in June of 2014, we had over 20% unemployment. Today, unemployment is only 10%. Let's hear it again for Labour, man. That is what you call performance. That is what you call competence. And it's not that we had a significantly large amount of money to spend. Because the reality is, whereas we have some CIP money, they were borrowing twice the amount of money that we get from CIP, so they had more money to spend. But yet still, they bankrupted the country. And another outlandish pledge of Harry Lovell, not only is he giving away $200 million in taxes, he also says that he's going to shut down the CIP program. You don't see, this man planned to destroy this country? And you know, I said to you from time to time that I'd rather be an ordinary citizen of a successful country than to be a prime minister of a failed state. I am not in this for money, for fame, for fortune. I am in this to serve. And I can say to you that Comrade Melford Nicholas and my colleagues, they are here to serve you. And you can count on our support. You can count on our commitment. And we will always honor your support. We will always deliver for you better health care, better educational opportunities, more scholarships. And you know, the university coming, the fourth landed campus of the University of the West Indies coming soon on the Labour. You know too that we will provide you with better homes, affordable homes. And the next project that we have coming is our social housing project. It will be a mixed income project designed to cover everyone. So you pay based on your ability, based on your earnings, and we'll also have rent to own. You hear them talking about rent to own? It's a stole idea from us. But guess what? While they're talking about it, Labour Party is implementing. Because already, we have a grant of $5 million United States dollars from the government of Mexico to start our first social housing initiative in the Booby Alley area. So we're not making idle promises. We're speaking about projects that are taking place. And you know too that we have a plethora of investment projects, especially hotel projects that are in the pipe. So you can be assured for 2019, 2020, we have at least another $3 billion in investments. My dear comrades, I say to you that you have to continue to stand with the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. This is the party of the people, the party of the masses, the party of empowerment. Continue to support your future, your best interest, your children's future. Support the greatest political institution in this hemisphere. And the people of City East continue to support Comrade Melford Nicholas. I thank you, my dear comrades. Love you all. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Oh, yes. That's our Prime Minister. Yes. I have an announcement here. Mr. Sherman Timothy. Sherman Timothy, if you're anywhere around, come for your voter's ID. Boy, how you can last this? Me rather lost my bank card. And nobody can use that. You boy, you careless. Sherman Timothy, come and collect. Comrades, we coming home. City East, we coming home. You send somebody packing in 2014, done them this time. Comrade Melford Nicholas. And if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. And if you can't take roses, then don't throw blows. Every time. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the most dynamic, organized, and committed campaign team in the whole of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. Thank you very much. Comrades and friends, I want to say a few things to you tonight. And I want you to listen carefully. A few nights ago when we started this campaign, I said that the selection of that song was an important selection because a number of lies have been told. A number of lies have been told. And for some reason, our comrades, especially our comrades, who were fearful that the gains that the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party made, that we could lose them, started to believe some of the lies. And you know what that lie is? That Melford Nicholas was in trouble in cities. I'm not in a trouble. I am not in any trouble. Not in any trouble. And I'll tell you why. Let me go to the record. Because even last night, my team and I were huddled in a special place, doing our mathematics, doing our sums, doing our review. And while we were doing that, somebody had the idea, you know, ABS, and we'll come back to this ABS story in a minute. ABS gave the opposition an opportunity to broadcast their public meeting. And last night when we tuned in, well, the PM gave an account of how we saw the presentation. But while we were there, I heard the first thing that Lovell said about me. He called me Melford Triculus. Melford Triculus. And for the balance of the night, the only credible thing that Harold did was rhyme. He tells somebody once it's brown, you know it going down and something. The only thing he could do last night that made sense was rhyme. So Triculus rhyme with Nicholas. So I give him credit for that. But let me tell you why, comrades and friends. Election 2018 will be the retirement of Harold Lovell. Let me tell you why. It will be his retirement because you have to watch the trend. My twin and comrade Chet told you of the number of people that have abandoned the UPP ship. It's a leaky ship. There's a reason for it. I know that a number of them, including John McGinley and Jackie Quinn Leandro and Elliston Adams, they said no way could they work with Harold Lovell. No way. Let me tell you, just Sunday night at our convention, you remember when the chairman of the convention asked us to sing Happy Birthday for Comrade Malwin Joseph? You know how old Comrade Malwin Joseph is? That young man that was behind me a while ago, he turned the ripe age of 70. And you know how old Comrade Sir Robin Haywood is? He's in excess of 70 years. What I'm trying to say to you, when you do good, when you are competent and you can serve the people, your average lifespan in politics can see you well into your 60s and 70s. But when you look at John McGinley, comrades and friends, I'm 54 years. This January made me 54. John McGinley and I are approximately the same age. John McGinley retired from politics before he's 60. Jackie Quinn retired from politics before they're ripe, before she's 60. And we can go down the list over and over. There is a reason why that they have thrown in the towel. They said that the UPP shares no value nothing. After Harold Lovell presided over the economy of this country and wrecked the economy by 25%, they realized that the people of Antigua are not going to chop it again. They're not going to chop it again. So what am I waste time for with Harold Lovell? Let him continue. And you know, I have to tell you something about our Prime Minister. He has some ways. And sometimes we don't understand all his ways. But they have a way of working out. Look at what happened. Since last year, June, he said, the election is going to come like a thief in the night. You know what Harold Lovell do? He panic. He panic. And he pick up all kind of driftwood and flotsam and jetsam, man with freeze, brains and all kind of stuff, and call them candidates. Some he convert overnight from caretakers and they come candidates. It's like you have your nice new car that you just get your duty free and you bring in the country. And you get in a little fender bender. And you carry it by a body works man. And when you get it back, instead of you putting a nice coat of paint in it, you put on house paint. No, you know, paint is paint. But you can't put on house paint. And Lovell can't expect to come with those kind of people. They may be competent in driving taxis or doing a little body works, but they can't manage your country and manage your economy. And people know that. So I can say to you safely that in all of the contemplations, yes, there are people who have said that they wanted certain other things to be met and expectations have not been met. But I want to say to our comrades and friends, in Genesis chapter 1, at verse 31, it said at the end of the creation exercise, the Lord did that in 6 days. When he did it in the first day, he said, let there be light, and there was light, and he is all powerful and omnipotent. But he still took 6 days to make the earth. Comrades and friends, I have to tell each and every one of you, those of you who are disappointed for whatever reason with the timelines that your demands and your expectations have been met, just be a little patient. I can tell you something. I said to Comrade Hurst, my good spiritual friend in the Antigua Labour Party, Comrade Max Hurst, you all know him. I said to him on Sunday, you'll understand what I mean. When I saw how the comrades from rural East congealed around Comrade Maria Brown and what they did on Sunday, I said to myself, the Antigua Labour Party is a wonderful organization. And I want to say to each and every one of my comrades in St. John City East, no matter what you may feel, there is always love that abounds in the Labour Party for you. And there is nothing that happens between us comrades that a little dialogue and a little open heart can't fix. And I want to say to my comrades here in City East, any of you who feel that Melford Nicholas has ever worked against your interests, you have me wrong. You have me wrong. You have responded, some of you, to this notion that a man could be a minister of government and be in the community every day. And you know one of the person who is perpetrating that is Harold Lovell. When I came here in 2011 to start my campaign, comrades and friends, I gave up a business. I just started a business. My wife and I registered a business. And I was going to develop this business as an alternative to going back and working in the private sector. But when I realized the enormity of the task and the risk that Antigua was involved at the time, that if we did not change the government, we would have toppled over the precipice, I said I had to give it up. And I gave up a business. At that time, I'd already sunk $350,000 in that business. I gave it up. And I spent the next 1,335 days, every day from 2011 until election day 2014, I spent in St. John City East. Why? Because I wasn't immediately from the community. And I took the time to get familiar with the people, to understand your aspirations, who wanted house, who wanted new jobs, who wanted to get a piece of land. All of the aspirations, I took it on board. And we are in the process of fulfilling some of them. But when a man can't work, he can't feed his family. A young lady called me the other day and she said, Minister Nicholas, I want to tell you that I feel like taking sleeping pills. She wasn't from cities, because I would have responded to that long ago. But she said, I feel like taking sleeping pills and not go through this any longer. It's not so much that I have a problem with leaning on my uncle or my aunt or my boyfriend for something, but I'm tired of not having any work. So I understood that. So one of the first things I undertook to do for my constituents was to find work for them. Now, any young man or any young woman in City East that can stand up here and say that they've ever come to me and raised an issue and I have not addressed the issue of the employment would be doing me disservice. That is my #1 mantra. And so even before we got in government, we started a program of placing people in the public sector. Even before we got in government. And every time when we did what we did at cabinet, Melford Nicholas was always there, stretching his hand out to say, City East need their share. Every time. And so we have created and found employment for City East youth, especially the young people, in information, in the private sector, in construction, in the environment, at public works, in the hotel sector, in catering, in West Indies Isle, and a number of places. To the extent that your humble servant has found directly or indirectly jobs and placement for more than 120 of our people in St. John City East. Now when you compare that in a mere 44 months compared to Harold Lovell's 120 months, I will challenge anybody, name 5 people in St. John City East that Harold Lovell ever empowered with a job. A meaningful job. Name 5. If you can find any 5 people that Harold Lovell provided employment for, bring it forward, and I will be standing corrected. But I will go further and tell you that this whole election is about the tale of 2 political parties. 2 political performances. It's a tale. It's a simple tale. And what is the tale of the UPP when they win government? You see, because Harold Lovell talks a lot and he rhymes even more now. But by the way, if anybody looked at that man last night, what's wrong with Lovell? Is he unwell? The man's face looked tanned. It looked gaunt. What's happening? He's worried? Is he dead? Let me tell you something. I came across Princess Margaret School the other day. And I saw a little fenced area with some tents underneath. And somebody chuckled and said to me, he's planning to have a jumbo sale there because none of the clothes that he had can fit him. So he planned to sell them out. Because somebody named some kind of P, Annie P or something, don't want them more than hand-me-downs. But I will go on to tell you this, comrades and friends, that the whole issue of elections are about choices. And the choices for you, my dear comrades and friends, it's about the format of the government under the UPP that when they were finished, we had 25% reduction in the economy. You know what that spells out in real dollars? 25% of $1.2 billion is $400 million, you know. It's $400 million that Harold Lovell wastes. $400 million that he reduced. He just lose the value for it. 400, he presided over that. I used to work in the private sector, as the Prime Minister told you. And you get fired for even making a $40,000 mistake. This man make more than once a $400 million mistake. So not only the economy, what they did with ABIB, it cost the Gaston Brown administration $400 million to resolve the ABI banking issue. And when the Prime Minister said to you, if we were around, there is no way that ABI would have failed. Because at the time, the government had significant deposits in ABIB. And we met a similar situation with CUB. And we converted our CUB deposits into equity in the bank. We bought shares and recapitalized the bank so that it could ride out the bad period that it was in. And we are happy to say that very shortly, CUB will declare its first real profit in a long time. And that is how you operate when you're competent and you understand what's going on. So under the UPP story, we have had unemployment, high unemployment. We have had debt even going to the lender of last resort with the IMF. We have had bankruptcy of APOA, of Social Security, of the Antigua Port Authority, of the Transport Board. These are all problems that we met when we came in office. And that is the tale of the UPP and the tale of Harold Lovell. He was once the Minister of Finance and the Economy. And that is his track record. We still have the whole issue of the corruption of the Chinese power plant. How many business closures we have had in the economy when Harold Lovell was at the helm? We just had to, again, negotiate to purchase the remnants of the Sunshine Car Park Hub that they couldn't finish. And we're going to show you in another couple of days how we put that asset back to work and how we make it profitable. We had the whole issue of them spending millions of dollars on fences, and you're getting no real value for it. So I would go on to tell you, my dear comrades and friends, that not only has there been failure in the UPP, but Harold has presided directly over much of it. But when you really look at him at a constituency level, I want to tell you this. Our comrade chair here tonight said that he came down Sport Street and he spoke of the wonderful piece of road that is there. Let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. I have in my phone a voice note from a constituent. He called me the day after and he said, Mr. Nicholas, I want to thank you. My family and I want to thank you for the wonderful road that has been built on Electric Avenue. It is the first time in 50 years that my family and I have had a road to traverse, and we are seeing the remarkable progress that we have made. Another constituent said to me a few days ago when I was on the football field here, thank you very much, Mr. Representative. Now I'm seeing my tax dollars work for me. But what is the different tale that we're talking about under the Antigua-Barbuda Labour Party? I think that the Prime Minister and many of the other ministers, my colleague ministers, would have spoken to the success. But I'll just give you an abbreviated list. We resolved the ABI banking issue. We resolved the CUB resolution. We brought resolution to the CUB, possibility of collapse. We brought solvency back to Social Security. We completed the expansion of the Heritage Keep here in record time. It was just December year before the last, you remember? When we had that wonderful celebration and the Quantum class ship came here. Look at what Comrade Malvin Joseph has done to health services and the transformation of Mount St. John's into something that is functional, that can really serve your needs. Look at what has happened to education, even at the Princess Margaret School, you can see. There has been progress all across the board. And even when we deal with something that no one thought that we could transform, ABS, you have seen the transformation across your own television screens. So I want to say to you, dear comrades and friends, I am happy to be a part of this organization. I am happy to ask for your support again because I know that we can stand on our record. And what is that record here in St. John City East? I said that my first focus was on providing jobs or helping the young people to find jobs in this community. But that was not it all. We focus on the infrastructure. We focus on the environment. And I have to say to you, because I am a representative that listens, when we started our campaign, a number of persons, whether it was on social media, and I have to thank Comrade Asabi and others for this, they said to me, Comrade Nicholas, do not overlook the importance of this football field to the community. Do not overlook it. And I said, what was the issue? What could I do? And they said, for many a year, we have been struggling. Our team has now reached the stage where they are likely to enter the Premier League next year. And the football field is not serving them well. Why? Because they have the problem with the animals. People tether animals in the area here, and it's been a problem. And they have addressed this with Harold Lovell for more than 10 years. And I said, really? And I said to Comrade Asabi Charles, line me up with the coach and the manager of the team. And I will come and I will speak with them. And in but a few short days, I called my comrade twin, the Minister of Sports, and I said, Comrade Chet, we have to put in place some measures to be able to respond to this issue. And just about 2 weeks ago, I came over here with a contractor. And when I said to the team, where and how are we going to move towards the renovations here? If you look in the distance here, you're going to see the post. And we started. And you know what happened? Upon the start of the project, when the contractors were over here, it must have been Sam told Harold Lovell that Melford Nicholas over here with the football team. And Harold Lovell come behind my back and go to the contractor that he didn't hire and ask them what they're doing. And when they told him, he said, oh, he just wants to know if what they're doing here aligns with his plan. What plan, Harold Lovell? Your ship sailed. Your waters passed. That time has gone. You had 10 years, 120 months. And Melford Nicholas come, and in a mere 42 months, have responded in a manner that you can't do. Why would the people give you another opportunity? I am not the Triculus, Harold Lovell. Triculus don't rhyme with Lovell, but I know something else that rhyme with it. Mr. Lovell, I have to say to you, when in the 2014 election, that your former campaign manager decided that she was not going to even get re-registered, and she left this country. And the last thing that I heard that she was being associated with the DNA. It said something about you, Harold Lovell. It said something about you. So I am saying to you, you do not have the organizational capability to beat Melford Nicholas here in St. John City East ever again. You can't do it. You don't have the capacity to organize. And I don't say that with no idle boast. So I am saying to you, when March 21st come, Harold Lovell, the last time you spent 3 nights in the hospital, you couldn't catch yourself. You couldn't catch yourself. So let me tell you now, pack your Georgie bundle We are going to retire you. I can safely tell you that. And what is more is that your rot has already set in. How I know that? In 2004, when John St. Louis retired from kicking you around this same park here, you jump ahead. The swing was with the UPP. And the people of City East said, well, you are the next nearest man, you know. And of course, you had my spiritual brother eat a piece of shoes there. But you got 968 votes. Max took 588. You beat him, all right. In 2009, you fall down, you know. In 2009, 22% of the support that you had abandoned you, Harold Lovell. They abandoned you. So, you lose 172 votes. And Ron McGinley creep up under you. Goodness knows if Ron McGinley had spent more time here, had more time here to spend, Melford Nicholas would not have been around because Ron McGinley would have been the candidate here. So when I came, the task was for me to just tip you over. Are you already on the edge? Where you going? Talking foolishness. Let me tell you something, Harold Lovell. We are not... The months that I spent helping to solve some of the problems, whether it be at the finance level or in my own ministry or doing whatever I have done at all the levels of government whenever I have to travel, they were not spent trying to ignore the people of St. John Cities. No. As the good book says, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you will be also. Comrades and friends from St. John City East, I am your inside man, inside the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party. Make no mistake about that. When the pie expands, I am the one that is going to make sure that you get your share. Stick with me, and I will not disappoint you in the end. It is going to take some time. But I can assure you, with the resource team that I have and what we will have to do, you can be assured that our success at the poll will be assured once more. And on March 21st, when the gong drops, you will be assured that it will be Nicholas, 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 and we are going to be the first again. Because you know something. Let me tell you something about you people. Them flop, them flop, them flop, them flop, flop. See you at the polls and see you in the next coming days on the street, my comrades and friends. Thank you very much. All right? Them flop. Thank you very much, comrades and friends, for coming out tonight. We ask that you have a safe journey home and see you tomorrow night in the valley. We'll be at Bowlands tomorrow night. Have a safe night home, comrades. God bless you.
St. John is indeed dark for an overpriced $1 million car.